like to say that Grace Lutheran is a servant-hearted church. One of the things that really defines this community is how much the people within it want to care for each other and for the neighborhood around them, and really the global community as well. We have a lot of people who are very socially active. We have a lot of people who are very interested in immediate justice work, like our food shelf and the community dinners that we provide for free once a month. We also have a lot of people who are interested in long-term change, in long-term ways that we participate in the coming of the kingdom in God's world.
One thing that right away sets us apart is we are a no restrictions, no boundaries food shelf. Most food shelves there are certain zip code address requirements, there's also income requirements, but here we serve everyone. We strip away that red tape. You don't have to be in Northeast Minneapolis and have our zip code. It can be any zip code. There are no income requirements. So that is really helpful for people who are homeless, new immigrants who have come into the city. There are just a lot of people who can't even use certain food shelves because of that right away. So that's a really nice thing. I think that really sets us apart.
Little Kitchen has been a part of the life of Grace Lutheran since we've been here. It was part of one of our predecessor churches when at that time it was about the size of a popcorn booth. So it was quite literally a little kitchen. It was barely big enough to turn around in. This was a motivation by one of our previous administrators, Jennifer Schultz, who became really engaged with food justice and especially with understanding how we meet the immediate needs of a community. She specifically designed Little Kitchen to be able to address certain needs that other food shelves couldn't. In addition, one of the beautiful things that she designed in Little Kitchen is that we're one of the few food shelves that is open after working hours. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're open from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And this is essential because most people who are experiencing hunger or food insecurity are working.
All people deserve equal access to fresh, healthy ingredients and foods and produce, and that is at the forefront of our minds too. And to that end, we have Grace Gardens, which are on-site gardens, and we grow fresh vegetables and everything every summer.
One of our members right now is coordinating our racial justice work group. That's a group that's been active in different ways since 2017, and especially talking about how can we both educate ourselves and do a lot of work as a predominantly white church and white denomination. How can we facilitate a lot of that better understanding of racial justice and what is needed for true racial reconciliation as a majority white church before we start bringing in and doing the work out in the community? And then also, how do we participate in that work in our local communities? Another way that I've seen this church participate in long-term reforms towards justice, long-term participation in the coming kingdom of God, is in its expansive welcome and outreach to the LGBTQ plus community. 3 years ago, we started an organization or a sort of outreach community called the Queer Grace Community, which is specifically a worship and Bible study and fellowship designed program for members of the LGBTQ plus community and our allies, noting that although there are many things that all Christians share in as far as their needs for worship and discipleship, there are also particular things to the LGBTQ plus community that may need for us to have a separate space so that we can work on issues of affirmation, problems with condemnation from home churches or family, religious trauma that may not be informative and useful for the larger congregation to participate in, but are still useful for us to engage with. So the fact that we've created a community where even though we are still, some of us, trying to understand each other better, we've created a space where we can sit down and discuss things, not even just discuss our differences, but to discuss how was your week, how's your garden doing, how's school going? That we've created a space where those simple questions can happen between people who might not otherwise interact. That I see so much looks like the kingdom of God.